Hey, we're back. Has it been 2 weeks already?
Everybody. It has. I know it goes pretty quick, doesn't it?
Wow. Yeah. It seems like it was just yesterday. Isn't that how our company meetings are too? Didn't we just have one of these?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
So, in case you're new to this, I'm Jeff, and then we have Kim and Andrea.
I froze up.
And,
Hi, guys.
So wherever you're watching us from, you can use the comment. If you're on YouTube, just comment and we'll see it. And so let us know you're here. And if you're same with Facebook, just put a comment on there and we'll see it. So swag, what are we doing this week for swag?
Okay, so the question for today, if you want to have your name entered to win some cool IO swag, the question for today is, what did you do for a living before you sold online? Remember, if you want some of that swag, go ahead and drop your answer in the comments section. Your name will automatically be entered into our drawing. Now, if you don't sell full-time or you still have another job, no worries. Just say that in the comments too, and your name will still be entered for a chance to win. And then, as always, we draw the winner's names at the end of the broadcast.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see some of these answers.
I know, Jeff. What did you do before IL? I mean, did you go to college? What did you do?
Yeah, I did a lot of stuff, but you mentioned college, and so I did have a brief path to a philosophy degree. Changed it up a little bit, but it's kind of a tragic story because it involves my favorite car I've ever owned. Sad, but here's how it went. Yeah, here's how it went. Well, back when I was thinking of going to philosophy school, I had a pretty sweet ride. I was an 87 560 SEL Mercedes. Kept it covered. You can tell I was sharp dressed back then as well. Had a lot of power. Also had the premium lights up front and the advanced car stereo. That thing was a sight to behold, wasn't it? Then came my trip to Jasper. I decided to go to philosophy school and was passing through there, one of those back roads, and was trying to clear the cassette tape that stuck, and one thing led to another. Always keep your eyes on the road, folks. It's a good safety tip. Yeah, it's a tragic end to that
That
vehicle.
is a tragic story. I gotta say though, Jeff, I always knew you were cool, man, but I didn't know you were that cool. I mean, that was a sweet tape deck too.
Oh man, that's so many cassette tapes. That's so many mixtapes.
So a man with a degree in philosophy and a Mercedes. I mean, what more could you ask for?
Well, I never finished it. I switched to accounting, so that's the way that went. I guess enough frivolity, I guess, for this portion of our intro, eh? But some of you may or may not notice where that's from, so bonus points in the comments if you can name the movie. That's probably an easy question, though.
And for anyone who's ever watched us, ever, you should know this. It doesn't matter if you've seen it or not. You should just know this.
It doesn't, no. It doesn't matter.
At all. All right, so let's see. We'll get into product updates. We've got a few to go through today, so let me share my screen. And I do want to point out that we're going to do an unlisted inventory webinar starting next week. So if you want to sign up for that, we're going to go through unlisted inventory and show you how it all works, and from why you might want to use that. It's one of your options now that everybody has under the inventory tab here in our test account that I'm showing you. But yeah, we'll go over all the details on this, and as well as how to list from unlisted inventory into your batch. So that should be a good one.
Yeah. I don't think people understand how amazing unlisted inventory is, especially if you're doing multi marketplaces and all that jazz. It's a nice record keeping, feature that we have. I like it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, especially for seasonal products. Yep. What else we got on the release notes there, Andrea?
Oh, sure. So we also have this cool announcement where you can now sort your FBA and MFN replenishments right on the inventory pages. Jeff, if you want to demo that for us.
I will. Let me see. Oh, here's a good one.
Find one with a lot of replens.
There we go.
Oh, look at that. That's too many. Imagine you have so many replenishments, you have to scroll through all of them if you want to get to the most recent one, right?
Yeah. Nobody has time for that.
No, nobody has time for that. But now you can sort them from newest to oldest or oldest to newest at the top. So instead of having to scroll down all the way to replenishment 12 or beyond, or even less than that, you can now reorder it. So it goes with the last replenishment at the top.
Pretty slick.
Easily, yeah. So you can easily update your info that way. So having to scroll, tedious
That's really
scrolling.
cool.
Yeah. And then some other release notes that we have from July, August. The active note for the inventory item that you have in Inventory Lab. You can now actually see the active note on the custom view. So look at that, Jeff added that. So you can now actually add the active note and see it directly on the FBA inventory page, and not without having to click and go through each and every single, item. Now you can just add it to your custom view, click the three ellipses on top, and then there your columns will have the option to have the active note.
One thing I noticed too is that it tells you how many notes you have right here.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
So
like for each individual product?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Click right there.
Oh, look at that.
So that's pretty slick.
So is it just the most recent note that you see on the side there?
Yep. Yeah, you'll see the most recent note on the side.
So the standard view doesn't have the note there, so you'll have to create your own, like Andrea said. So manage custom views, and then you can see we already have one created, but just click there and you can create a new one.
So yeah, that's pretty cool. We have that. And then we also have your purchase history in Scout, and Scoutify also includes unlisted inventory page purchases as well.
Let me copy one of those unlisted inventory just by clicking the new little icon here.
Yeah.
Copy. It's pretty slick. Go to Scout. Paste that in there. And then on the history page or tab, these are all from unlisted inventory. Since we don't sell anything on this, or we don't actually send stuff in. So yeah, that's pretty slick too. So now you can keep track of all of your history.
Yeah, and you can see it all from either Scout and also in the app Scoutify. So I wish we had an easier way that we could show screenshots from Scoutify, but
yeah. I think whoever purchased these really got taken though.
Right, that's a lot for 5 pairs of shoes.
Yeah, they saw them coming.
So that's pretty cool that you can now actually see your unlisted inventory purchases in there as well, in your purchase history. And then another update, we have included the label size notification. Now, when you go to your settings, your print settings, if you technically, the label 30252, I believe that's a Dymo label, correct? Is that what the word is?
Yep.
What the usage is? Yeah. So you will actually be notified on that settings page if your label is not FBA compliant. And that's usually, for example, label 30252.
Yeah, we support it, but since it's above the 3 inches that Amazon has in their requirements, it's technically out of in violation of that. But I don't know. Have you ever seen a case where it's come in that Amazon's rejected the 30252 label? I don't know.
I haven't had any cases where Amazon has rejected the label for being technically oversized, but it is a note. It's a notification that users deserve to see. But it's while it's compatible with Inventory Lab, technically, per Amazon policy, it's not FBA compliant. However, we have not had any complaints or heard anything back from people having any issues with their FBA inventory with using this label type.
So I think we'll warn them that it's a non-compliant label, but you could still print on the label and use it. We're just going to tell you, hey, FYI. I think that's what the warning says. I should have gotten a screenshot of it, so apologies I didn't.
It just says label not FBA compliant.
Oh, okay.
That's pretty much all it says. Yeah. So that's about label size notifications that we added to the settings page. And one other feature that we did add for release notes was the magnifying glass icon has been added to unlisted inventory, like it has in FBA and merchant inventory, to search Scout automatically. So
see if I would have read ahead on the notes, I could have just done that instead of copying. I could have just clicked here, and it would have saved me some time. There we go.
But look at that.
Slick.
And now you can look at your purchase history, right?
Yeah, there we go. Right there. See how much I got
Straight
taken
from Unlisted.
for those? Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you're wondering where you find those release notes, if you didn't get the email, you can go to our community forum from the resources tab. And when you're there, we have a section, release notes, and they're all listed here. Everything that's been done, bug fixes, updates, those sorts of things. So really easy to find.
Yeah, super easy. And we have release notes about once a month-ish, maybe more, depends.
All right, so we kind of went ahead with our Tales from Support because of bad editing on my part. So I don't know, do you have any, oh wait, before we get to Tales from Support, I gotta make sure I do it right. Gotta have the, there we go.
Love that.
Anything that pops out over the last 2 weeks of issues coming in through support?
Well,
What you've seen?
Let me think for a second. Let me think. Not anything that's standing out necessarily.
Well, that's good, actually.
Yeah, no, it's been pretty. It's been pretty smooth sailing, honestly. Pretty smooth sailing. Yeah.
All right.
Oh, one thing that
Yeah.
that I have this week encountered are people, users who try to update their buy costs on the sales page, even though they'll sell an item and then they will update the buy cost or the average cost per unit under the sales. However, the item will still be listed. It's inactive, but it's still in Inventory Lab with a $0 buy cost. And so when you have when the buy cost is set to $0 on the replenishment page or on the actual inventory page, that automatically will overwrite whatever buy cost you enter into sales, because the way it works with FIFO, first in, first out is how you do accounting for inventory. And this way it lets you, it will revert back to your original buy cost. So it thinks that it's a fail safe. It's trying to make sure that you're not changing the price from your original purchase, when in actuality, you just need to enter your original purchase buy cost on the inventory page directly instead of on the sales page.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, that happens a lot, especially for new users. If they think
so
they
while
just
you can
update the
update
cost.
yeah, and while you can't update it on the sales page, that is strictly for items that are no longer in your inventory. They may be deleted. This MSKU might be, might not exist. But if it's not in your inventory any longer, the only way you can update your accounting information is on the sales page. So we've gotten a few tickets about that this week. So
okay.
it's a good time.
All right, and now it's time for another edition. Kim's Corner. We need some music. We need to get some music.
Yeah, that would be
for
great.
this.
Yeah. Maybe some Jeff Healey or something.
There you go. Yeah, that's a perfect band.
So
Perfect for this
before I
show.
start Kim's Corner, just a reminder, if you're just joining us, if you want a chance to get your name entered for the IL swag drawing, just answer the question, what did you do for a living before you started selling online? And again, if you're still just doing online selling on the side, or you already, you have another job, that's fine. Go ahead and put that in the comments too. But I do want to give a big shout out to Andy Zoomer for knowing that we played a clip from Roadhouse. So he's automatically going to have his name entered.
Where'd you go, Andy? You always come through.
Right? Like, so excited somebody piped up. So,
yeah.
All right. So for my edition of Kim's Corner, so this is, where I talk about what I'm learning about Inventory Lab and how it works, what I learned about Amazon selling and just e-commerce in general. So this week I wanted to talk about an article that I read that was published in the New York Times just this week. And the headline actually reads, "People now spend more money at Amazon than at Walmart." And that really struck me, not because it's that surprising, because it's not, but because it got me thinking about how much e-commerce has changed the way we do business over the last couple of decades. And I remember when Amazon was brand new and the idea of buying anything on the internet was terrifying. And so for those of you who have watched us before, you know that Jeff and I are old, and Andrew's not. But I won't say how old we are, but let's put it this way. I didn't have a proper cell phone until I was well into my 30s, and I remember when MTV was brand new. So that's really all you need to know.
Yeah.
But so as I'm reading through this article, a couple things really stood out. The first one is that Alibaba in China is still the world's largest top seller. So when the article talks about Amazon outstripping Walmart in sales, that's strictly outside of China. And the next thing I noticed is the huge amount of Amazon sales and how it's increased exponentially since the pandemic started. So the article states that people spent $610 billion, that's billion with a B, on Amazon over the last 12 months ending in June. So Walmart, on the other hand, posted sales of $566 billion for the last 12 months ending in July. So that's pretty impressive. And that's probably how, Jeff Bezos is able to go to space, because $610 billion. And it really illustrates how quickly e-commerce has changed the game. So for instance, while Walmart was actually founded in 1962, they didn't open their first superstore until 1988. And Amazon opened 6 years later in 1994, but they didn't allow third-party sellers until 2006. So that means that in the last 15 years, Amazon has become the #1 retailer outside of China, beating out a company who's been around 4 times as long. So, this doesn't mean that Walmart is struggling. Their sales grew by $24 billion in the last year. But the value of everything that's sold on Amazon during that same time period rose by nearly $200 billion. And one other cool thing that the article talks about is the really interesting comparison between the competition between Amazon and Walmart and the competition that existed between Sears and Walmart back in the day. So in the 1960s, Sears was king of the retail market and Walmart was the newcomer. But Walmart had surpassed Sears in sales by the 90s. And now you see that same dynamic taking place between Walmart and Amazon. Something else that really struck me about the article was the fact that one reason Amazon has been able to achieve more sales than Walmart is because of the fact that it opened the door to third-party sellers. Walmart did start allowing third-party sellers in 2009, but right now there are roughly 2 million third-party sellers on Amazon compared to Walmart's roughly 100,000. So a big difference in those numbers.
Wow.
And I mean, I would expect Walmart will increase, but whether it will ever keep pace with Amazon at this point is questionable.
Yeah.
So if you want to check out the whole article, it's really interesting. And Jeff, can you put that link up real quick to that article? Cool.
I just put it in the chat, so it's
great. Great, awesome, thank you. And as always, if you're new to IL or you have questions about creating a batch or anything else, always feel free to put your questions in the comment section here. You guys know we try to field as many questions as possible during the broadcast. If you have any questions that you want to send to support, you can send an email to support@inventorylab.com or check out our support portal at inventorylab.com/support.
Very cool. Yeah, is I read through that after you sent me the link. I was like, I did not realize that about Sears and Walmart. Now it's like, it's it's Walmart and Amazon.
And
it's
now
kind of
if your area's like mine, all the Sears closed. All the Sears brick and mortar stores around this area closed.
Yeah, we don't have any Sears open anymore here.
Nope. But when I was a kid, of course, they were everywhere.
Oh yeah.
Like I said, it's so funny to me, the idea that Amazon now is so familiar, and it's just something that we're all on so much, whether we're selling or just buying. And I do remember thinking, oh, people are crazy if they buy something online. That's scary. I would never do that. Well, yeah.
I don't trust that. This internet.
Right?
What is that? Yeah. Speaking of Amazon, there's some insurance news.
Yes.
That's just come out, right?
Yep. So basically, did you want to go ahead and play the clip first from when I talked to Ashlyn Haddon?
Yeah, let's play that. It's just a short clip. It's only about 2 minutes about the difference between the different product liability and general liability, I believe. But we'll put a link up on the screen as well to that episode, so you can view it all in its entirety if you need to. But here we go.
Or starting an Amazon business for the first time, how many people do you think just start selling? It doesn't really occur to them that they need insurance.
A lot of them. I mean, I have clients that have been on Amazon for 7, 8 years, 10 years, and they've never had insurance. So a lot of these people just come in here and they don't even understand that Amazon requires it. They don't understand that they've signed the terms of service that says, I have insurance and I'll continue to have insurance, and I'm going to indemnify Amazon if I'm in a lawsuit. People are like, I didn't even know I signed that. So you're not reading your insurance policy, but you're not reading the terms of service either.
Exactly. And that's actually a fantastic segue, because that was going to be my next question. What exactly does Amazon require from its sellers?
Yeah. So now if you are a pro seller, you are in your terms of service, it says that you have insurance, that you will continue to have insurance. They want a general liability policy with product liability at $1 million. And then in that policy, they want you to indemnify Amazon, which means if you're pulled into a lawsuit and Amazon gets listed, they want your insurance policy to handle it, not theirs. They don't care about you. They want you to protect them, because these are your products that you're putting on their site. So you need a general liability with product liability. And let me kind of break those down. So let's say I sell this pen. And I say, this pen is going to make you look 10 pounds skinnier just by holding it next to your face. And someone says, absolutely not. This pen makes me look fatter. Then they sue you for false advertisement. That's general liability. That's what you do or say as a business. Now, if I take this pen and I jab it in my eye and I poke my eye out, that's product liability. That's what your product does to harm someone else. So Amazon wants you to have both. Protect you for what you do or say as a business, and protect you for what your products do to harm someone else.
That was me and Ashlyn geeking out over insurance. So.
That was a really interesting episode, though. So,
it was fun. Yeah, it was
if you
nice
missed it, make sure you check it out. The link's right there.
Mm-hmm. So like Ashlyn was saying, I mean, this is something that Amazon has always required, whether as a seller you know it or not. And So it's something that's really important to have. And when I say I was geeking out, it's got to have insurance background. So I know, insurance is one of those really boring things that no one wants to pay for, but you'll be happy that you did if you ever have to use it. And the whole goal is, of course, to never have to use it. But so basically, Amazon announced last week that they were introducing a new product liability insurance requirements. But I mean, again, I don't really know how new they were because they've always required them. So starting September 1st, 2021, Amazon will do the following. So they'll offer an efficient process for both parties to resolve their claims. If anyone's ever dealt with, claims for an insurance company, the word efficient, I think, is a little bit of a strong word, but you never know. Who am I to cast aspersions, right? So they will also pay valid claims that are less than $1,000 and will not seek reimbursement from sellers who have valid insurance. So in other words, if Amazon has to pay out, let's say $999 for something that you're liable for, they're not going to turn around and ask you to reimburse them. They will pay anything under $1,000. And they will also make it easier for sellers to buy insurance at competitive rates through Amazon Insurance Accelerator. So if you're just someone who's like, I don't even know where to start looking, Amazon is going to offer a tool to try to make that a little easier for you. And so basically they're going to pay for an A to Z guarantee on claims seeking compensation for personal injury and or product damage under $1,000. So, and again, that's as of September 1st. I'm not sure, Jeff, do we know what the difference is as far as what they were, how it was before? Was it a lesser dollar amount, or were they just they weren't paying anything, right? You just had
I don't think they were paying anything. You just had to take care of it, and they were hands off.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. They also announced that as of September 1st, they're also changing when a seller needs to obtain product liability insurance. From once the seller has reached $10,000 in sales for 3 consecutive months to once they obtain $10,000 in sales in any month. So in other words, before you had to have $10,000 in sales 3 months in a row. If you reach $10,000 in sales period, just one time, you need to have that insurance. So that's something that's the big change. So you definitely need to know that. And then of course, they also announced the launching of the Accelerator program. It's a marketplace of Amazon vetted insurance providers. So this way they're just enabling them to, customers to shop a little more confidently. Again, I think it's just a convenient way. If you don't want to, search on the internet, you're on your own, or you just don't know where to start, you could just go through Amazon. So again, as Ashton was saying, just a little bit of a recap so everybody understands what the insurance is. So product liability is insurance that protects your business from claims that a product you made or sold cause any bodily injury or property damage to somebody else's belongings. That's the kind of thing where if somebody brings suit against you, even if it's, seems frivolous, it could still end up costing you a lot of money without insurance. And then as far as the general liability insurance, she was saying this is what your product does or what you say it does. So if you're saying, like she said, that this pen will make you look thinner, and somebody's saying quite the opposite, that's where you have general liability insurance to protect, what your claims are. So
I need about 10 of those pens.
Right, exactly. I know,
made me
right?
look thinner. I want to
right.
10 of them around.
Sounds amazing, right? What they really need to do is create a pen that's ginormous. Then everybody really would look thinner standing next to it. So you may be wondering, okay, so what happens if I don't have the product liability insurance by September 1st? So I guess there's not going to be any kind of penal action taken against sellers who don't have valid product liability insurance. So it's an impact that's going to happen to a very large number of sellers. It's pretty unlikely that Amazon would enforce it right away because they don't want anything to disrupt the flow of business on Amazon Marketplace. But basically, this is kind of like the shot across the bow. This is them saying, listen, we're taking steps. We're probably going to get to a point where we are enforcing this. So just something for everybody to keep in mind. Usually when Amazon starts something, that's an indication that it's not going to get easier. And that it's not that you're going to be less responsible. It's usually an indication that, you're better off just kind of getting in early and doing what you need to do. Now, if you do have the insurance, or let's say Amazon does contact you and requires proof of insurance, you need to provide a certificate of insurance within 30 days. I mean, remember, if you're selling on Amazon, you sign that contract that says you're going to have that insurance, and they can call that in anytime they want. So better to just make sure that you're covered and that you get that certificate of insurance from whoever is providing the coverage for you.
Yeah, I'm with you, Stephen. Need to get that pen.
I know, right?
And I was wondering, when you were mentioning this, I was looking up why their risk is growing, and it looks like they had a major lawsuit filed here by the Consumer Product Safety Commission recently.
Yep.
So.
Which, let's face it, isn't like lawsuits, and the loss of income, the loss of money is usually the catalyst for a lot of these things in any business. I mean, really, it's like, I always think of it like on kind of like a local level. You know how when we all drive around and there's potholes and the roads are terrible and it doesn't seem like anyone's fixing them. Well, if the right person, somebody who's maybe, important in that town damages their car, suddenly I feel like, at least that's how small towns are. It's like if the mayor's wife damages her car driving over a pothole, guess what? Those potholes get fixed pretty quickly. So, like I said, and when it comes to big business, anything that hits them in the wallet is going to be a catalyst for change. So, if they have to pay money out, then guess what? So does everybody else. So,
what you said about Amazon, and they may, most likely aren't going to be enforcing this too hard initially. It's similar to how shipments, they've had the long-standing. In their terms of service, long-standing rule about shipments that you need to create all of the shipments in a shipping plan, but you were allowed to delete shipments that you didn't like for the longest time, and they kind of looked the other way. They didn't do much about it, and then it was it last year? I think it was last year, right, Angie? Or at some point last year?
I think it was right before I started with Inventory Lab. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, they came out with that email and saying that you can no longer delete shipments from your shipping plans, and we can, we're going to start enforcing this and stuff. So we had to change, Stratify up to take out that option. And so, they may not enforce it for a little while, but when they decide to, there's not going to be any pre-warning about it either. It's just going to happen.
No.
Right,
Just,
right.
Yeah.
And for anyone worried about it, again, insurance can sound intimidating, and it can seem, it's not expensive. I mean, when you think about usually any amount of liability coverage, it's usually fairly cheap, because I think people tend to think of all insurance as being, it really exorbitant, like health coverage. It's not. And especially for business or anything else. I mean, even for me personally, I have a personal liability umbrella policy that just covers me and everything that I own and my family in case somebody tries to hold us responsible for injury. And it's a $2 million policy, and it's pennies on the dollar. I mean, it is so worth having the coverage. And the same thing for your business. If you get sued, the amount of money, even if you win the lawsuit, you still have to, your insurance company is going to defend you, but it still could end up costing you. Your premium could skyrocket, or they, if it's enough damages, they could drop you altogether. And so for very little cost, you can actually get a really good policy that will cover you. So it's just peace of mind. And no one ever thinks it's going to happen. They never think they're going to get sued until they do. So highly recommend that people get that. So
Kash has a question about this
not
for
use
you.
it.
And that's exactly what it is. And people think it's a waste of money because you never have to use it. But trust me, it's not a waste of money. And again, the ideal scenario is that you don't. That you keep paying that premium and you never have to use it.
Right.
Seems counterproductive, but truly it's not. So
it's just a better way to bring a peace of mind, So
exactly. So
Kash has a question. Did you say Amazon will offer sellers an insurance that they can buy, or do sellers need to buy their own insurance? I think it's like a marketplace type thing, right?
Right, where they're offering a tool for you to find vetted insurance providers. So they themselves are not actually providing you the coverage. They are saying these are companies that we have checked out, that we are confident are legitimate and have the coverage that you will need to buy. That's what it is. But Amazon themselves is not actually offering the insurance.
And they're not like offering, or they're not showing like competitive rates or anything like that. I think it's just
literally just it's like when you go on your healthcare website and there's just a list of providers.
Yeah.
You can, it's up to you to pick who you want to pick, but just know that according to Amazon, everyone on that list, every provider on that list has been vetted by them. So, again, if you're someone who's like, I don't know who to go to, there's so much insurance out there, how do I know if they're legitimate? You could just go on, use Amazon's tool, and then you don't have to worry about it. And let's face it, I mean, if it's on Amazon's list and you have an issue, you can go to Amazon and say, hey, you vetted this company. Now, whether Amazon would take any responsibility, I don't know, but at least I think you'd have a better shot of getting some kind of support, or than you would if you just went and found it on your own. So,
and also we keep mentioning that that the OpenLab we have with Ashlyn, but I love how just tailored her services seem to be. Like, she knows exactly what your e-commerce business will need. So I would reach out to her. If I were a seller, that's who I would reach out to immediately.
Exactly. She's wonderful. And it's funny because Emily mentioned in the comments that, and thank you, because she said that was a good episode. We had a lot of fun doing that one. She says, how is Ashlyn, handling her phone ringing off the hook? And, I hope she does get a lot of business, because she was not only really knowledgeable, and like you said, Andrea, she really supports small business, knows the ins and outs of it, but she's really passionate about insurance, which, I don't know how many people out there are passionate about insurance. I mean, like I said, I was kind of geeking out with her, but I don't know that I'd say I'm passionate about it. I'd probably still be working in insurance if I was really passionate. But she definitely comes across as someone that can not only explain the ins and outs and make it, very understandable, but who is really eager to help everybody. And another thing to keep in mind, you guys, is that if you already have insurance through any company, if you have an auto policy, if you have a homeowner's policy or renter's insurance, most of those big companies would offer small business insurance. Now, e-commerce is a little different because it's not the same as other insurances. I mean, as far as insurance, it's still relatively new. So you may not necessarily get the insurance company that you already work with to be able to provide a policy for an online seller, but I would at least try. It's just another option, another avenue for you to go down. It never hurts to ask. So
I'm trying to find the list of insurance Amazon recommends, but it's called the insurance. Oh, I just had it and I forgot about it already. Insurance Accelerator. So maybe in probably spelled it wrong. Well, I don't want to buy a book. I don't want to buy a book. The Insurance Accelerator, I don't see where the page is exactly, Amazon. That's the thing about, Seller Central. They don't make it easy to find stuff when you really want to find it. But
no.
You know what? I was going to check the article and see if they had a link at least that we could provide.
They had a link in it, but it was going to their own stories instead of...
Oh, okay. Well, that doesn't really help.
Yeah. Let me see if it's searching for it. That's the news article. They may not even have it up yet.
Although, you know what, Jeff? I wonder if is that also launching on September 21st?
That could be, yeah. They might not even have it available yet. So
that's what
hold on, let me just check. Yes, because it does say in the article that that's one of the things that they're going to make it easier for you to buy at competitive rates, and that's all starting September 1st. So, unfortunately, it's not up yet. But
I put a link in the chat for Ashlyn's site, ecom.insure. So it's ecom.insure. So put that up there. So I would definitely put her in the mix and compare the rates and give her a call. Even she's very knowledgeable. She's been around it for quite a while.
Sure has.
Let's see.
That was one of my favorite open labs we've had.
Yeah, that was a good one.
And I just real quick, just because while we're still on the topic of insurance, I just saw this question from Steven, so I just wanted to address that real quick. And he says, could you let us know approximately, and I mean in very general terms, what that $2 million umbrella C policy is costing? So the umbrella C policies are really cheap for what you get. And of course, they're going to range across the board because it depends on the value of your home. It depends on whether you have any hazards that are make it more likely that, somebody could hold you accountable. Like, for instance, I have an in-ground pool, which is considered an attractive nuisance. So, that's a little bit more, that costs a little bit more than somebody who doesn't have a pool. There's a lot of different factors, but just in general, I think they cost anywhere between $150 and $300 annually. So if you're spreading that out into 12 payments, it's really not much for $2 million coverage. But always check with your insurance provider, because that is a very general amount. And I don't remember what we're paying for our specific. I want to say it's around $150 extra a month, or a year, which again, when you break that down, it's $13 extra a month or something. So very much worth it. And whether it's a PLUP for your business or just covering everything, your home, your vehicles, all that stuff. And that's basically, it protects, for us personally, it was to protect our home. So if anyone ever sued us, or let's say we caused a car accident and we caused catastrophic damage to somebody or injury, once our car insurance ran out, if they tried to sue us, instead of being able to take our home, you've got $2 million worth of coverage that can help you with that. So
yeah, we've had a policy for years, and I think since we sold our condo in Portland and we're on the road there, living full time in an RV, I don't want to say it was less than $100 a year for the $2 million liability thing. So
it's dirt cheap.
In our
it really is
situation,
when you consider. Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. Another little bit of news was Amazon's cutting transaction fees to 5% from 15% if the brands refer shoppers from their site to Amazon. So
that's a big discount.
Yeah. So if you just get somebody on your website and you kick them over to Amazon to actually purchase it, you're paying 5% on that. So you can check that out too.
That's great.
So should we do some Q&A?
Let's do some more questions. Yeah. And just one last reminder, you guys, if you want a chance to have your name entered in our drawing to win your IELTS swag, just answer the question, what did you do before you started selling online? And if you're still doing it, just put that in the comments. All right, what do we have? Anything I can demo? Since I've got my screen up, I'm ready to go. Here we go. This was the first question from Steven. So we're needing to know where we pay for shipping, FBA and FBM. Is this a feature inside Inventory Lab? And is it automated during shipment? Who provides, how we pay them, etc. So for FBA, if you're on the professional selling plan, you can sell things prime and you ship everything to Amazon. Well, they take care of it for the most part, and we will get that information in your settlement report. And so it will show up here. And again, this is our test account, so I always have to go back several years to when we had examples. Let's see if this is one. No, that's not a good year. Here we go. We have some. They have these. Amazon has a really weird way of accounting for their shipping. So they'll put in a shipping credit or promotional rebate, and then they'll offset it with a charge for the same amount in your expenses for a transaction. So it's really kind of funky, but you would have to pay for shipping to Amazon fulfillment centers, and that's something you pay for in Seller Central when you create your shipments to send your products in. And that is always going to be listed on your inbound shipping page, but it'll also be, and that's under accounting, that has all the information about your shipments. You can also see the cost for each shipment, but it'll also be listed here under the FBA inventory and inbound services section. So you'll list your shipment cost to Amazon. But the shipments for purchases made on Amazon, it's usually involving a shipping charge back, like right here, and a shipping credit that are offsetting
and it's just a weird way that they account for that stuff. Now, if it's merchant fulfilled, you're doing all the fulfillment on your end, and so if you pay for merchant shipping labels through Amazon, then we'll also get that through your settlement report, and it'll be listed here as well. It'll be here it is right here, MFN shipping label cost. So if you're paying for it through your settlement report through Amazon, like you make a sale, you go into Seller Central, you pay for the shipping that way, then we'll record it. If you do it on your own, then you'd have to manually put that in, and you could put that in accounting other expenses, or the best way to do it is to go right to your merchant sales page, and I'll see if I can even get anything. I don't think, we may have had some. So you would go to your merchant sales, click on the transaction, and then you can just add in your shipping cost here. That's one way to do it. You can also go to the import, and just a little warning there, but you can import your merchant fulfilled shipping cost in bulk using a CSV file this way, so you can update your shipping if it's not through your settlement report. So there's a big difference. Now we do have a webinar. If you go to the resources webinars page, merchant fulfillment with Inventory Lab. If you're interested in figuring out those shipping templates, Chrissy takes over about 30 minutes into this one, and she goes in great detail of about the shipping templates in Seller Central and how they all work and what to set up, because you really want to make sure you have your shipping set correctly, because you can really screw yourself over as far as the shipping cost if you don't. So where item might make you money, if you have your template wrong or pick the wrong thing, it could cost you a lot of money. So that's a really good webinar. We have the next one coming up September 7th, but I will add this as an on-demand. So give me a day or two and I'll add this as an on-demand event. So check back in a couple days, and then you can go in and watch it at your leisure, and just maybe speed through about the first 30 minutes, and then you'll get to the shipping template stuff. So that should help you out there.
Yeah.
She's really knowledgeable.
We appreciate you too.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. All right, what else you got?
All right, what's next? All right, how about Winston's question? Many of us are selling under NAFTA, especially in Canada. Will IL provide data soon, especially for accounting purposes? I know this question comes up quite a bit, and for anyone who's not familiar, NAFTA is the North American Free Trade Agreement.
Yeah, Amazon calls it what's NAFTA?
Remote fulfillment.
Yeah, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Andrea's the expert on remote fulfillment, actually, so we'll let her take that one.
Sure. So we don't have any plans in the immediate future. I believe, especially with Q4 coming up, we don't want to make too many changes during Q4, because that can just be not fun, not fun. But it is definitely on our radar. Please look out for it. Stay tuned. Definitely stay tuned. Don't have a date on it yet because of everything else that's happening. We just had the rewrite for the inventory rewrite, so that was kind of our main big thing right now. We are working on a lot of other stuff, but Q4 is when you don't really want to make really big changes, especially to accounting software, when people are going to be getting ready for taxes and everything. So in the future, but we don't have a date yet. We do not have a date yet.
Yeah, they talked about it last night again, so I know that the developers are working on something. We just don't know when that's going to come out. But yeah, definitely on the radar for sure.
Oh yeah, it's been on the radar for a while.
Yeah.
We know that there are a lot of sellers out there that do that do NAFTA, the remote fulfillment thing. So it's something that they're definitely looking into it. So it's not on the back burner.
Like I said, I know that question comes up quite a bit. So,
Yeah.
yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So BRAP 0 says, when creating shipments in Seller Central, send to Amazon. I found I was always only sending to one fulfillment center, versus with IL, I find I am sending to multiple each time. Anything to that?
So I think that the send to Amazon, is that with the replenish, where you just replenish your inventory, I believe?
Yeah, that's that new thing they changed up, the send to Amazon process. So that's something new in Seller Central. But as far as the shipment splits, that's Amazon telling us where they want them. We don't have any control over it. But and again, they may send everything to one fulfillment center that way, which is what it sounds like. But if they want it to go to other fulfillment centers anyway, they're going to then distribute it. But so your items will be delayed in going live that way. We were testing this out this week in our general meeting, and it is kind of a cumbersome process we were finding. So we do have a way, we're adding a way to export a shipping plan file from a closed batch. So you can go into Seller Central and do it this way if you want to use the send to Amazon process. We didn't find it all that intuitive, and which it's like a lot of things in Seller Central. I think it's not easy to find information. Their process is kind of cumbersome, I think, but it does allow you to put everything in a box and ship it to one place fairly simply. But yeah, the shipments, we don't have any control over that.
No,
Right.
and that's
So
why
it
we
sounds
have that's why we have the decline proposed shipments and go back. If you want to try it, you can always try and get fewer splits, different splits, but it's all coming directly from Amazon. Did you?
It didn't work. No, I did it like 6
No.
times. It didn't work. No, they were like, nope, you're going to 3 different warehouses, like it or not. So it sounds like whether you use IL or you're going through Seller Central, either if they want it to be split, it sounds like the only difference is you either find out on the front end or you find out on the back end. So, but it doesn't change the fact that they're going to end up splitting the shipment. So, okay.
And with the new replenishment, it's kind of like, I think it's by SKU or by SKU. So that's kind of how you can do it, like down on that level. Whereas, if you're doing a batch, you have a ton of different things. Maybe your first list, maybe this is when you're first listing this item. So that I can see that being a main reason.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Less splits.
Here's the send to Amazon format here. So
yeah.
Then you got to set the the packing details, and then I think there were several questions you had to go through to actually get the items listed, but we are coming up with a way, like we said, to upload a plan, so it'll make that easier if people like that method. But.
Okay. So Kim wants to know, how do you add an item after you have validated with Amazon?
Do you mean when you're approved to sell it on Amazon? Is that?
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Ungated.
Yeah. So if there's already a listing there on your list and prep page, you can, get your batch here, search for it on Amazon, just the Amazon catalog. If you don't use unlisted inventory, you can search for an item, and I'll just type folders. I just always do that for some reason. But so these are all active listings on Amazon, so you could send in these if you're approved. If there's not a listing on Amazon that's active, you'd have to add a product using their add a product tool. Go to catalog, add products, and search for an item or EPC, and then you can add it that way into your inventory. And once you've added it, then you could come back to Inventory Lab and send it in. If that's not what you meant, Kim, then maybe if you could clarify a bit.
She did make a comment. I forgot an item in my shipment.
Oh, okay. So So you've got a shipment. So you put the item into the batch, but you forgot to put it in the shipment. Is that what you mean? If you forgot to put the item in a shipment, you've already shipped it out, I would notify Seller Central Support and let them know that, hey, this item is not going to be in that shipment, even though it says it is. They can, if your shipment is still working, like you could, still in working status, you can actually go into the shipment and delete it out of there, and then transmit updated boxes, and then that way the shipment in Seller Central would be correct. And then you would just add that item to a new batch and put it in a different shipment. Okay, so you forgot to add it to a batch. Well, if it's not in the batch, you can't really add it to any shipments if it's not in the batch. So if you've already created shipments from a batch, then you're just going to have to add it to a new batch to get it sent in. There's no way to send that in after you've created shipments and like add a new item to the batch. If it's an item that's already there and it's just a quantity issue, you can go to the shipments area, working shipments, click on the little hamburger icon, we call it, these 3 lines, go to box content information, and then you can adjust the quantity up, still within Amazon terms of service, what is that, 5% or 6, whichever's greater, you can adjust the shipment. So you could add the quantity and modify that. But if it's something totally new to the batch, then you'd have to put it in a new batch.
And if you get lucky by adding, your item to a new batch, if the working batch is still open, you might be able to add it to the working shipment.
Yeah, very true.
So if you still have if you still have your shipments open from the original batch and you create the new batch with the item that you missed, you might be able to still add it to your working shipment if it's going to the same destination. Again, that all depends on what Amazon returns for, your proposed destinations, but it's a possibility that you could get it into the same shipment. So,
yeah, and if you want to know how that works, just search for add to existing or add to working shipment in the help center from the resources here. And it's a step-by-step process on how to use this add to shipment option. And it's only going to work, like Andrea said, if you already have a current working shipment. Then later batches, if they also have those items going to the same place, like in this case, these were also going to a shipment already created, so we could use this add to shipment option, which will look like this. See, this one doesn't have any shipments that are going to this, so I don't have that option, but here I could, because this FC is already listed here. So yeah, good point, Andrea.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's about all the time we have for. Apologize if we didn't get to your comment, but remember, you can always send your questions in to support. So just reach out to us, or you can submit a ticket. Okay, but I think it's time for our drawing.
Yeah, I love seeing all these previous jobs and current jobs that people do.
Isn't it cool? Yeah, there were some really interesting ones. But I think Dave might have he might take it. 15 years in the music industry as a road manager for national touring bands. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Wonder if he ever met Dalton. Maybe.
Wait, possibly. Hey, Dave, did any of your bands ever play at the Double Deuce by any chance in Jasper, Missouri?
Yeah, because that'd have been awesome.
So jealous.
All right. Yeah. Inside jokes there. We got him. All right, Andrew, do you want to
Where's that sound effect?
Oh, wait, yes, I just got that right. Gotta have the drum roll. Here we go.
All right, swag bag winner number 1 is Steve Sinclair.
Yay!
All right, way to go, Steve.
Congrats, Steve.
Yeah. So just email us at support@inventorylab.com with your best mailing address and we will get your swag on the way to you. So congratulations, Steve. Can I get another drum roll, please?
Yes, you may.
Swag bag winner number 2 is Andy.
Andy!
Andy Zoomer. All
Andy,
those
our Roadhouse
comments.
aficionado. Yay!
Yeah. And we do this
Well
all by
deserved.
random drawing, so
This,
it's kind of
yeah,
funny.
and this wasn't rigged, I swear.
Yeah, no, it's all random drawing. So
I know
congratulations,
Chris is excited
Andy.
about our drum roll.
Right.
I also
We're
have
not
one
just
of
sitting
these.
there going.
Yeah, no, we also have one of these too. Just in case.
Just in case.
All right. Now the big grand prize. Here we go.
All right. Grand prize of the $50 Amazon gift card goes to eWarner SBC Global.
Yay!
eWarner SBC
All
Global.
right. Congrats.
So
Well, congrats
again,
to all our winners.
yeah,
Yeah.
again, reach out to us at support@inventorylab.com. Our 3 winners, please. And we'll get you set up with some swag and an awesome gift card. So it's
Yep.
exciting stuff.
Hey, there may be a bit of a delay on the swag bags because we're waiting for one last shipment of swag so we can get you the latest stuff. So, yeah, but get those emails in and then we can at least get you on the list to ship those out as soon as we have them.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
Cool mail. So
Yeah.
All right, well, thanks again, Kim and Andrea, for joining me here. And thanks to
thank you,
everybody
guys.
that joined us on Facebook and YouTube. We appreciate you taking an hour out of your day to listen to us blather
Hang
on.
out with us, yeah.
hang out
Can you
with
believe
us.
that there are people that hang out with us on the internet?
I know,
It's
right?
crazy.
It's crazy.
And voluntarily, I might add.
I know. Voluntarily.
Yep. Yeah, Chris,
'cause
Pop, we
they knew.
got a new budget. We got a new budget for swag, so there's some cool
We got the new
stuff
budget for
coming.
the drum roll.
Yeah. All right, everybody, have a great rest of your day.
All right, take
We'll see you
care,
next
everyone.
Yeah,
time.
see you again.